especially come like me, my perspective, I'm kind of tired of the games, if I'm being honest. The games make sense if we're going to take tests, and the tests to pass to the floors are games. I just feel like, what is the freaking point of playing games? I don't know. It's just a weird thing. It made sense when we were taking tests and playing games to climb the floors, but we haven't been climbing any floors, and we've played a lot of games. It's been a lot of like setting up games, and I don't know. Like, the games are fine when we're climbing, but we're not climbing. We're just doing this. We haven't been going up. We've been going down and across and up a little maybe, and then back down. We haven't gone past the highest floor. If I'm supposed to, yeah, it was always about games, but my point is, up until we went to go get Ginseng, a game always led to us climbing higher. It always led to us climbing higher or getting out of a situation, and we go higher. We progress from this. Every single game since like the Nest has been going in the same direction. We've just been going down a rabbit hole. Like, one game sends us to another game, which sends us to another game, which sends us to another game. And we're not going up. We just keep going sideways. Like, if we get back and it's just like, all right, we're going to play a game to take a test to go to the next floor, I'm fine. I think I'm perfectly fine. Doug, I don't want to run from the Gakjahdoseng, then to the cat tower, then get teleported somewhere, and then be like, oh yeah, there's going to be a marriage tournament. And then that spirals out of control. And then we start talking about playing chess. And then we play that chess game. And then that chess game turns into another chess game. And then we agree to that chess game. But then before we play that chess game, we need to play another game. And then if this game is played a certain way, we don't have to play the chess game. But then we still might play the chess game. But then we're just going to fight. So who knows if we ever make it to the chess game? What's the point of the game? That's my thing. What's the point of the game? I get Tower of God has always been about games, but the games have always been a barrier. You have to play this game to move forward. The games were always your boss level. Mini boss, final boss of a level. That's what the games in Tower of God have always been. The point of the game was to bring them to the Sprout. It didn't even have to be a game though. I think that's my thing. It doesn't have to be a game in these situations. I think that's my issue. The games make sense when they're barriers to continue. Like, these don't have to be games. These could be something else. We could do without. We could go back to games when we go back to normal tower stuff. I don't know. It's just a weird thing to be like, yeah, these family heads that have been alive for 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50, however many thousands of years old, are just like, you know what? Yeah, we'll play a game to figure out what we want to do. Sure. I don't know. That's when it's, yeah. Trom's like, why am I entertaining you guys? I could kill you guys if I want to. You know what? You can, but we'll play this game instead, and you won't. I don't know. That's dumbing it down very much, but that's, to me, when I read it and I try to understand it, that's what it sounds like to me. I don't know. That's what it sounds like to me. I understand the purpose of the game. They don't have to be games. It's at this point, how I'm looking at games in this series is how I viewed keeping Bomb, Kun, and Rock together. It just feels like we're trying to keep some essence of the series, and games and their friendship is like integral to like a part of Tower of God. That's what it feels like to me, how it's being like portrayed. Like, Tower of God always has been about games. Yeah, absolutely. 1000%. But in a specific situation, they've always been about games. I'm trying to think of like in these big arcs where we finally started fighting in these big arcs, were we bogged down by games? And even back to season 2, like the dollar show was a game, but we had to play the dollar show because we were on the hell train to progress and move forward. So that made sense to me. Like when we made it to the floor of death, we didn't have to play a game to get our lore dump. We didn't have to play a game, even though Helljoy liked to play games. We didn't have to play a game to get Urek flying around and doing stuff. When we got to the hidden floor, we didn't have to, like, our game in that was so that we could actually see Bomb fight Day to J, because it wouldn't make any other sense for him to probably be on the same playing field. We played a game so that we could see a good fight, and we got to see one. But we didn't need to play a game during the last station. Why did we have to play a game to get Bomb versus White? Why do we have to play games to progress to the Sprout? Why couldn't we have just gotten to the Sprout because of a narrative reason? Why couldn't Revolution have done something to force us to do this? Or why couldn't Gastong have put something together to do? Why does it need to be a game? That's my thing. It just, games don't make sense if it's not. That's how I feel anyways. No one could agree with me. I like games when there are a part of our climb. We play this game in our test to move forward. And if we want to include our issues in these games to move forward, then we could. And it's worked. It's evident. Some of the greatest stuff in the series has taken part in games, through tests, stuff like that. But in a situation where we're not climbing necessarily, and we're just having conflict. We're in the middle of a war. Like, war is about to break out and people are fighting each other. Why do we have to play a game in the midst of that? Well, I don't want to play a game in the midst of that. To me, it just feels like the game is just getting in the way of this conflict, and it's being used to get us out of it so it doesn't have to happen right now. Right? That's what, like, Gastong and Traumaray started to fight, and then a game was brought up and it stopped them from fighting because we can't have them fight right now. And then it just extended it to move it to a different location so that we could have a fight a little bit further. And who knows if this fight that's happening right now that just kicked off at the end of the chapter we just read is going to lead to anything. Who knows if the game's not going to spring its head back up and then we're not going to continue that fight either. To me, I feel like that just makes me like have a negative feeling towards the games. I didn't have, like, it's fun to joke on Tower God games because they have these long, convoluted reasons and explanations for them. You have to like pick up on how the game's played as the story is telling you. Like, those were fun. I'm not having fun with these games. I'm not. If this series legit, after this whole conflict, went back to tower climbing and we did our games like we did in season 2, I wouldn't be complaining at all. I just have a thing where you have these two powerful beings who are on the brink of like changing this power structure, this tower structure that they've built. And it's just like, well, no, actually we'll extend this through game. I don't know. It's just how I'm feeling. I think I'd much rather like to see you stretch that muscle of writing some conflict and not including a game where it doesn't make sense. Because I'm having all these questions and we're like having to fill in the gaps of, well, why are these two still sticking to this game? And then it's just like, well, it must be because the administrators and this and that, this. It's just like we got to like jump through our hoops and debate back and forth as to what's going on. Why it just, I think it would like this just be conflict. Just have it be conflict. Just have written a conflict without including a game that just seems to meddle itself back in whenever things start to get good. It's like, man, it's starting to get good. And then it's like, actually, no. It would have been more interesting if Gastong and Tromare were to have their conversation, and their conversation have led them to the Sprout on their own without me feeling like the game is the only reason why these two are agreeing to even go here. It would be much more interesting to watch these two characters have the mind game of, why does he want me to go to the Sprout? Because I really don't remember. We're kind of having it out right here for sure, but have it be something else. Why? I don't know. It could have been, especially if these two are supposed to be on the more intellectual spectrum and less opposed to necessarily crashing out on each other if they're going to have like this mental warfare. They were never going to get to the Sprout unless Kun stuck his head back in this. So I don't know. I much would have rather they naturally made it to the Sprout. Have Gastong say something that makes Tromare think of Amizu or something. I don't know why he would know it, but have him think of something that would make him be like, what is he trying? Hold on. What is he trying to do? Because it's clear Tromare is thinking circles around all the rankers and regulars and all that stuff, but Gastong is the one he's not thinking circles around. That's evident. So why not just have that be the thing instead of, oh, we're going to play a game of chess. And you two like to play chess, right? Dog, we're about to kill each other. Like, they were literally about to fight to the death. And Kun was like, you guys love to play chess, so let's play a game of chess and you can get bomb out of it. You know what? I like that idea. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it could have been a cooler way to have gotten there. We could have gotten to the Sprout in a way cooler way. I don't want games banished from Tower of God. Just don't want them outside of taking tests. I just don't want them outside of taking tests. Like, what would have been like even cooler? I think would have been even cooler, like would have been a cool way to have done like what the Gakjahdoseng was and the Cat Tower and some of the stuff after that, is especially if Trom was going to like Trom showed up in the midst of all of that. So if Trom was going to show up, I think a cool way that would have been like cooler than playing a game would have been, we made it through the two walls, we've broken through the lines of defenses, and now we have to figure out where Jinsung is, how to navigate this, X, Y, and Z. That whole labyrinth of the infinite being labyrinth, that junk is sick. This right here is super sick. Escape, please. These, like, they're formed by countless ancient fish, and like he says all this, he goes on this whole thing, and then Trom's like, this will hold them for us, because we know how strong the family heads are. Trom's like, this will hold them for a little bit, if anything. And he kind of just did it to be petty because Gastong trapped him in that library labyrinth where he had to figure out the riddle to get out of it. It would have been like a cool thing, instead of like coming up with this whole, we need to play a game of 4 different paths and someone gets a shortcut and all this stuff. Dog, if Trom, like, even if we wouldn't have known it was Trom doing it, if we would have just found ourselves inside of this massive, infinite monster labyrinth, and you have like one of the rankers in our party, like a Cha or someone, try to blast through the wall and it gets destroyed, and then it forms back up or something else fills its spot, and then we split up something like that or do something like that, it would have just, I don't know, something besides we could have done like different things besides playing a game. I feel like if in the test format, like if we needed to get to like floor 60 and the Gakjahdoseng was a test on floor 60, and we had like 4 strong ass fights on each of these paths, that would be amazing. But the Gakjahdoseng was just, it was in an invasion. I don't know. It's just like, we're invading this place and we're gonna play a game in the midst of our invasion. I'm just ranting. I'm, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like games are fun when they're attached to climbing floors. Outside of that, I don't necessarily know if I want to play games. I just would rather the plot progress. I'd rather have these characters actually use their galaxy brains. Because whenever they use their galaxy brains, it always makes for a mad cool moment.